It's all about you and all that you have in store for your family and for your old age. See, when we have a family that everything goes well, it simply means one thing, that you have been able to put your home in order. So that when you grow old, when you get to like 60, 70, you go just dey relax. You go dey in that, that relaxing mood, that your everything around you is at peace. You don't have children that will be bringing police case, trouble, mayhem and all that. Your mind, even when they are married, you know that they are bringing up children who is also going to be great, like you have brought them up. And that's why family and value is all about you. It's all about the value that you bring. So your value must be able to create your vision. What is your vision for your family? And on that note, we'll be going for our mini feature.
Family budget is a game plan for your family's money. Your plan identifies where and how your money comes and goes by focusing on income and expenses. Importantly, it also reflects your family's goals and values by how you spend and save. A household budget is a spending plan that helps you determine where your money should go each month. Good financial planning begins with a basic household budget. Creating a budget helps you understand where your money is going each month and allows you to develop a plan for saving. Household budget is a spending plan that accounts for the income and expenses of a household. This could include a couple who contributes to joint costs. A house budget can be oriented around 50-30-20 guideline. According to the 50-30-20 budget, 50% of your monthly take-home income is devoted to needs, including minimum payments and debt, 30% to want, and 20% to saving and debt pay down beyond those minimum, and 20% to savings and debt pay down beyond those debt minimums. How can one make a home budget? Calculate an ideal budget for your household income. Find the household budget template, monitor and adjust your spending. It is easy to get carried away by the excitement and romance of starting your new life with your partner or moving to a new place together. But it is important to be practical and plan your family finances in advance. Many couples are reluctant to talk about their finances because it can be a delicate issue. This will be a misconception, however, because the more you are open to talk, the more understanding with your partner and running the household expenses. Steps for household budgeting. Be honest with your finances. List your household spending, including the necessary and regular expenses. Suggest to set up a joint account. Decide on who will be in charge of the household finances. Discuss and set financial goals. Regularly review your income and expense and prepare for a rainy day if you can prepare an emergency fund which will last for 3 to 6 months.
Okay, welcome back. It's time for us to do justice to why we are here this morning. And like we always discuss about the married ones on Wednesday. It's dedicated to the married ones. Those who are committed to live together in sickness, in health, till death do them part, to love each other, to cherish themselves. Mothers and fathers out there. Joy. When they talk about this particular topic, before I unveil it, the topic, when anyone comes to you and say, do you know so person A and B? Between the two of them, this woman is not doing right when it comes to helping and supporting the husband with the shelter, provision of shelter, and the A is telling you, my wife supports me. In short, even if I don't have, she'll be there to help me. What comes through your mind?
You remember in the course of what we're talking about this topic within the week, I told you of a story of a woman that actually built the house. Took her time to
each time you mention that.
It's surprising, but it was something that happened. Built the house, convinced the husband, see, let's move to this house, let's move into this house and everything. And the husband followed her. They moved in, First year, it's time to pay rent. The rent was paid into her account. In fact, the man paid rent, I think, till like the 4th year before you realize that this is my wife's house. That's why you pay rent. So you can imagine whatever would have happened. But for me, when it comes to housing generally, I think it's a man's duty to provide shelter and accommodation for his family. We had a guest here that said, before you get married, pay rent.
If you don't want to,
if you don't want to get married, then you don't pay rent. So once you take up that option, okay, I want to get married, automatically be ready to pay rent. So that's, for me, I already know that this is but there are exceptional cases anyway.
Okay, so our topic this morning is family budget, and our main focus, just like we have nuggets, you have shelter, you have clothing, you have feeding, you have them like 5 of them like that. But this morning we're focusing on housing. Where do you stay? Who pays the rent? Who is responsible? Just like I said, the men, okay, fine. But some will like, you need to support me. Like, you want us to live in a three-bedroom apartment, or we are living in a mansion. At least you must support me. Sometimes when I'm not able to, make this money in bulk out like that. Maybe business did not go well. At least my wife should be able to say, okay, manage this 25%. This is all I can raise for you. Add it to the 75 you have. But this morning, I'm not going to be the one to do the talking. Just like Joy is not going, we have an experienced person in the house. And we're talking about the chairman, Lagos State Nigerian Institute of Builders. Okay? And it's none other than builder Adeoye Thomas. Okay? FNIOB. It's so good to have you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone at home, the viewers all over the world. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you, sir. Yeah. We're so privileged and honored.
Privileged to have you.
So how's the family?
The family is fine.
Because this is family and values, and we're so particular about families and the value that comes with it.
Yeah, the family is fine. As you rightly said, it's family and values. Is when you contribute and you put in all this, that the value will come out.
Definitely,
So
yes.
we appreciate that.
Okay, so housing. To you, what is housing? Is it just building? Is it just, what is housing?
Yeah.
When you talk about family.
My name is Adeoye Thomas, as rightly said, and I'm the chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Building Lagos State chapter. I'm a builder by profession. When we talk about housing, in life we have a basic needs that we talked about, like food, air, water, and other basic needs. But the most important is housing, shelter. How do you have shelter upon your head? And you can only think very well, think fine, when you have where to rest. So put your, even sleeping is part of the basic things of life. Housing is very important. And I realized that for getting all these things done, people have to come together to get the value for house. How do we do it? As we rightly know what is happening in the country now, that the prices of building materials are going up.
On the high side.
But I believe housing is something that individual and government can work together to achieve. Low cost housing, as we may call it, it may not be low cost that way, but with the help of the professionals, the government, housing can be a thing that anybody can access. Let me put it that way. When you started the program, you talk about budgeting and the rest. Yeah. If our, how do I put it, the structure, the economy is structured in such a way that as we are working either a public service or private service, you should be able to maybe by mortgage or the rest avoid a housing by contributing, either putting little into it, and at the end of the day, or you join a cooperative society. With there, you can quickly raise little fund and the government support you. So I believe the housing is very important for everybody, which we can still achieve.
Okay, I love the fact that we are talking about this topic, and for some reason it's been a very controversial topic over the years. As technology grows, people try to shift from the narrative. Now, I want to ask, is this a natural thing or a cultural thing to say that men are the ones strictly in charge of housing? Because when we're growing up, and this is talking about generations past, men were the ones literally taking care of housing.
Yeah.
You would not hear a woman, our grandparents would never have said, I want to go and build a house. It was always the men that were in charge of housing. They were always the ones in charge. So is it a cultural thing or just a natural thing that, okay, men, because you're the head, be in charge of housing?
Thank you very much. If you want to build a home, everybody build it together. Yeah. Wife, husband, even the way our African setting, the communal living makes us build our home. it's not necessarily mean that Mr. Hay is living in the next building. It does not contribute or support the growing of. Yeah, in our own part of the world, we believe that everything that is hard work should be part of men's job. And that's the reason why we are, and that's the reason why we are now talking about it should be man that will build a house. No, it depends on the kind of job that you do. A woman can contribute into building of a home, and likewise it depends on understanding between the two families. Okay, what I'm earning is much, what you are earning, let's bring it together and get a better place to put our head and to train our children. If you don't have a house to train, how will you build a good community or a value as we are talking about? So anybody, if a wife have a structured job that can easily pay off mortgage, have a budget for, you can as well. It just depends on understanding. If you don't tell, if nobody, you can't come to my house if I didn't tell you that it's my wife that nobody will ever know. Yeah. And that one comes to what you just said, a woman built a house and the husband was paying rent. It is when that thing came out of one of them that they knew that, okay, this one is not the one that built the house. So I believe anybody can do that when you have capacity to do that. And it's when you have a building that you have a rest of mind. Let me put it that way. It is then that you can think very well. So to me, anybody can. It's not a man's job. It's everybody's job.
Come from anywhere. Okay, now I want to ask, why do you think, you said it's from everywhere, but we do have the society frowning at women who always believe that the men should be the one to do it alone now. You know, we know some will look at it and say she's just being selfish or she's just being inconsiderate. Why do you think the society keep on looking at it from that angle that considerate at all? She cannot even assist the husband, and she's in that, you know, capacity. She's in that, you know, category of people who can actually support their husband. And even if she can't, what should she do? You understand? But why do you think society frown at that?
When you say society, it may be a society that we find ourselves in, the African setting. Yeah. But when you go outside African setting, you can't be in abroad. Everybody pay mortgage. Yeah. So, but here we believe that man is the head of the home, and from there he should be able to provide. But mind you that things have changed. It's not when we are in the village that we can easily contribute, find a mud and build a house, call a community to come and support you. It's totally different. We have engaged ourselves in a white-collar job that some of these jobs pay more. So if it is that, and not, maybe a wife is getting more than what husband are, automatically you can support husband in building, contribute, let me put it, so that it will not look as if she's the one doing that. And when we are submissive, all these things that we are talking about, it will not come out. We want to build a value, we want our children to grow in a nice place. It's a contribution of everything. It is when the home is good that the product of the home will be better. So I just believe that the African setting, our own tradition that says it's only man that can do that should be something that we should put aside.
Okay. Now, I want to believe that with your portfolio of office, you've had conversations around housing, knowing too well that this is a big challenge, especially with the constant rise in house rents. In fact, thank God for the Lagos State government that stepped in and took it to 1 year. Yeah. But we still have landlords that have built houses over 20 years, still collecting so much, like a landlord that just finished building a house in this particular. You're looking at the differences in prices when it comes to production and everything. Now, have you, with your chapter, have you guys been able to come up with a housing plan that you say, okay, you know what, we are builders, we know how these things are being produced, we can get them at a subsidized, build houses, and then give it out on mortgages. Now I'm not talking about government, I'm just talking about your this thing now. Have people come out to say, okay, you know what, let's think towards this direction so that we can reduce, because a lot of homes have had issues because of housing. You see a woman will get married and say, I can't follow you to your family house. And the man is saying, I can't afford the rent. So these things have they been, so that we can encourage people to go into family. Okay, you know what? There's a provision. You're earning 50, 100,000. You can start this payment stuff and get yourself a room or a self-con.
Yeah, it's possible, and we are doing something about that. But let me just put it straight. Getting a home is beyond just putting a structure on the ground. It entails a lot of things. How do you get your land? How do you do documentation, the process? All those things are there, which I believe every professional, every institute are trying to. But when you look at place like Lagos, that our land is like a gold mine. How do you want a ordinary person in the street get a land and now start talking about building it? But I know the government has tried so many things, and some of these things are working fine, like rent to home. You can do rent to home in Lagos. You go to their offices, they will give you, when you have a structure salary that they can be deducting from your salary, they can give a flat and ask you to pay. But in our own part, what we are looking at is, okay, it's not everybody that will have a government job. Some people are doing self-employed. How do we do that? And that's the reason why, like, we encourage our people, let's go into cooperative. It is when we go to cooperative that we can now see that, okay, the little money that you are contributing, the cooperative can stand for you, look for a land in a cheap area that is cheap and good, and from there start putting money into it. And building a house is like you are banking, you are putting your money in a bank. Because let me put it this way, a house that will cost 50 million is not immediately that will bring out 50 million. And it's not a day that you will build. You build gradually. Whenever you have 5,000, put into it 50,000, 100,000. Before you know, you have achieved. And when you now start putting it down as a budget or writing it down, you will have seen that I've spent 3 million, 5 million, or 10 million to build this house. How did I get it? My salary is not up to that. It is because you are saving. Even if you are not doing that, you will spend the money on another thing. So the best way of doing it is mortgage. And I think the government is trying to bring the percentage on mortgage so that everybody can access and apply into it. With that, cooperative and other things, people can get their home. You don't need to have a mansion, just a decent home for yourself.
A decent home. Okay, I want to ask, what do we need to put in place when you are budgeting for a house? I have a landed property in Mowe, for instance. Mowe is under Ogun State. Okay? And because that's where I can get a cheap land to my own pocket.
Which is fine.
I'm not going to talk. I'm going to, let me start with my pocket.
Where you can start with.
I need your advice to our viewers out there. How can I put budget together? Some will say, it's better you mold your blocks so that you will be able to, monitor the quantity. Cement now is on the high side. And you'll be able to make that block, it will be strong, it will be, and gradually you are creating an, foundation like that. What do I need to put in place?
There are a lot of processes that are involved in building. It's not just something that you can start immediately and achieve, but when you have it in mind, you will definitely achieve it. First of all, when I want to buy land where I can avoid, which is either Mowe or anywhere, immediately you are getting that land, you need to get a survey. Do your survey. The survey will show your perimeter land area given to you. When you have your survey, that is that you can't just have a survey without doing further things. You get architects to come and, okay, my architect come. come and I have this brief. This is what I want. I want 2-bedroom flat, a big sitting room, a kitchenette, a store or something. Please help me put it into a drawing in a line form. Immediately the architect does that, he needs to get the value for it. How much will it take to complete this building? Then you get involved, you call the quantity survey. Okay, come and look at this. This is what I have. 5 million. We look at it. Yes, you can tell the QS your budget that okay, I have 5 million. Okay, let me see the choice of material. Okay, instead of using block, why can't we use brick? Instead of doing this, putting this kind of door, why can't we do this? From there, you can cut your budget. When the QS does that, it doesn't mean it's just a plan, it's a budget. You can even do more than that or can do less. It depends. Okay, I want to use a marble tiles. When you know that you cannot avoid a marble tiles, you go for ceramic tiles that you can avoid, which is can bring all those things, they can bring it down. And after you have gotten a value, because you have to plan. It's not something that you can just engage. You now get the builder to come and okay, I want to build. The builder will now assist you. Okay, let us do this. And that one comes to the issue of who is molding block, who is buying block. We are here now. You are not on your site or your area, and you are molding blocks. What do you know that they are doing there? You can't do that. Nobody, unless maybe you are at home monitoring what they are doing, the process, that you can say, okay, I'm getting a quality blocks. And even when you go and buy, you cannot even sometimes determine the kind of block that you are buying. But all these things can pass through tests. Okay, I want to buy block from Mr. A. Okay, the block, I will take it to laboratory to test. Or if I load it, let me just put it there, I will know that this block is okay. And what our people doesn't really know is that if you are building a bungalow, which is not load bearing, what I mean by load bearing, you are not adding a slab or any other thing to it. Yeah, you may be talking about a strong block, this. You can use so many things to do your partitioning. We are talking about things that are expensive now. Look at this. I can say aluminum alcohol here. It's not, what can be there, but other things can do that function, that partitioning. So even if you are talking about high rise, you can only do your structure, my columns, my beam, with concrete, with reinforced concrete. But the partitioning can be done in any other form, so that all these things will bring down the cost of what you want to do.
Okay, we are talking to the Oga.
Yes, now
Let's talk about the layman.
Our house.
I've seen people that just, all these bricklayers, the way they build their houses, they can just put blocks. Before you know it, under this thing, they finish building one room. They do it themselves. They don't need the architects and everything. Now, this is where I'm driving my question. What is the government, Lagos State government, doing in terms of policies? Or what are those policies we need to know when we are building? The don'ts, don't do this. This is Lagos State policy. This is Lagos State. Do we still have that? And if we do, what do our viewers need to know? Because this will help us so that anybody that is putting up anything will know that, okay, these are the policies we need to follow.
Okay, fine. You cannot just go to your site and say, I want to build. There is rules and regulations in Lagos. Okay. Lagos has some agencies that deal with buildings. You have Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority. The approval that I've talked about, your survey, your plan, your this, that, you will take it to them. They will look at it. That's the last part. We call them last part. Lagos State Physical Planning.
Sorry, does this even apply to the ones in the interior?
It applies to everybody. Everybody. We may be violating, but you have to.
These are the steps you need
to
take.
Yes. You take your approval to the planning, as I rightly said. The planning will look at it because the government has a standard. What you need to do in some area. They have a leveled. Okay, you cannot put developmental level for build a high-rise building here. You can only do commercial here. You can only do residential here. You know,
Yes,
all those rules are theirs that governs the area. And they have a district offices. You take it to the one that falls to your area. Okay, this is what I want to do. They will look at it, guide you, ask you to go and this drawing is not too okay. You need to leave setback, air spaces because of future development. Oh, yeah, go and do this. We will do that. We will now return it. Then they will not approve. They will give you approval. Immediately they approve, you cannot go to site too. You now send it to Lagos State Building Control Agency. Mm-hmm. They are the ones that will come and look at the physical building that you are putting on ground. Is it safe? Are you doing it according to what they have approved? They will be following stage by stage of your job. That's Lagos State Building Control Agency. Till when you finish. After you have completed your building, they will now give you certificate of fitness for habitation and so the process is there. Sometimes people does not really know and they don't follow. It is when you now violate, and that's the reason why you see a lot of houses that you will see them, they will mark it or break those houses that what you are doing is contravening.
Okay, like I was discussing with Jemilat.
Before you decided to give me Jemilat. Well done.
Like I was telling Jemilat before you came in, and I was asking, I'm going to ask you. Now, when you see structures, you see pillars, and these pillars, you see some with tiny peel, you know. Meanwhile, you get to some, the Yalagbaras, those who get loaded, you know, fund. You see big, strong pillars. How well does the size of the pillar hold the structure of the house? Is it by size or is it, you know, by the content?
Okay. You know, I try to mention people that are involved in building, which structural engineering is part of it. It's when you have your architectural drawing, you take it to them. They will not design it, the kind of reinforcement, the kind of columns, as we said, pillar columns that you will use. The size of columns does not determine the stability of a building. Some may do it as aesthetics. I want my columns to be this. I want my columns to be this. It's not the size that determines. It's the designer will know, okay, I will tell you, okay, I want a 5-story building. Give the designer my brief, which is structural engineer. You now look at it, do the normal calculations, structural calculation. Okay, this is what we can achieve here. Okay, this is the size of the column that we want. Okay, this is it depends on the magnitude, the complexity of the building that will not be determine the sizes of columns or structure or beam that you want to use.
Column structure.
Okay, I want to ask you, because we've been talking about Lagos State policies and everything, and you know, sometimes our viewers will listen to us and they are lost on how to go about it. Is there a site can go to? Okay, go to this site, go to this office, get all your information. So that because in the law they say ignorance is not an excuse.
It's not an excuse.
You know, so before you build and they come and demolish, you say I wasn't aware. Is there any site they can go to, offices that we will say go to this office? We'll talk to our viewers. You will tell our viewers that so offices or these are the sites you can read on the policies that Lagos State have in place.
You said ignorance is not an excuse.
Yes.
That in all the local governments in Lagos State and the LCDAs, Lagos State Fiscal Planning Permit Authority has offices, and LAPCA they have their offices. Every LCDA 53. Yes, you are in Ojodu, they have their offices. And if you don't know the local offices, go to the headquarters. Alausa is there. When you go to Alausa, ask for a Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. They will show you. And from there, they will now guide you. Go to, and even those agencies have their offices also. They are at Keja, GRA. That's Oba Akinjobi or something like that. The two agencies, like LAPCA and LASPA has the big offices with very big signboards. So very big signboards.
Yes, I know they have one.
So it's not something that you said, okay, I don't know that the law is there. We just need to comply.
Okay, to round up our discussion, so continue to enjoy our Eid Mubarak holiday, sir. A family is looking at you out there, and the husband is an artisan trying to do all this esusu he has bought a land and to. What can the Lagos State Institute of Builders advise them? What way should the husband or the wife do to actually start to have their own home? Do they need to have 3 bedroom at once, or just a room and parlor for a family of 4 or 5? Your final advice.
Yeah. In the course of our discussion, you made mention of somebody just you don't need to have drawing. Just yes, my first building when I was still young, this thing, I didn't complete it in a year or 2 or 3. What I did is this: I started. Okay, I have a 3-bedroom, 2 flats of 3-bedroom flats. That means 2 flats. I started with one. I did my room, plaster, do the kitchen that my wife can.
Food is very is key. Is key.
Yes, I was not able to buy tiles to complete my sitting room, and I was living comfortably with my children because we were able to do the room. And from there, immediately I comes back from work, I will see that I've not touched this. I will quickly buy cement and call my okay, come and do it. You can as well do all those things if you don't have the capacity to. It doesn't mean if you are doing it right, you do it gradually and you get to where you are going.
Before you go, I want to also talk about advise families on housing budgeting. Now, you know why we are insisting on this? Because families have seen building like one mighty thing. They feel like, I can't own a house in Lagos, or I'd rather go to my village and build one house. And most of them, the money they pay for tenancy in Lagos, if it's properly budgeted, they can get a room self-contained. It must not be, the land must not be in the high, in one of, so how are you going to advise them from your own office that, see, I'm a builder, and from me to you as families, do this, your budgeting should be this. It's not, you can't wake up one day and build a house, but there should be a process.
Yeah.
From buying of the land, and you know, most of them will say, all these agents that are in charge of land have taken a lot of their money.
Yeah.
But how can we advise them on budgeting?
Yeah. First of all, what they need to do is to agree. Come together as one. It is when you come together as one that you can discuss, it's kind of easy to do this. And their priority, they should look at their priority. In this kind of world that we find ourselves, sometimes what we don't need, we acquired it. 2 of them should look at their priority, cut down their extra budgetary activities, social activities. All the money that we are using for our car, using for this, you can gather it. It's part of it. The woman and the husband comes together. You can be working in Lagos and live in, and we have a lot of them that live outside Lagos now. There is a train that can take you from anywhere to Lagos now. Go to where you can buy a cheaper land. Out of what you people are earning, start doing the esusun or the ajo that we call the cooperative. And from there, so far you have getting the most important is land. Every other thing is not coming. Whenever, anytime that you collect money, okay, 10,000, let me go and put it into the. Before you know, after 2-3 years, you will have put almost 5-10 million that you cannot even physically account for. So it's just for 2 of them to know exactly what they need and what they want to do, and from there they will achieve. It's not the, and if they need a professional advice, they are not big clients. I will give it to them freely. It's possible.
So how can they get you?
We have a secretariat.
Okay.
We have a secretariat at Eric Moore Tower. Okay. We have a builder's house which we call Cobon House. That's Council of Registered Builders. Our office is there. And they can come to us. we guide them on what to do.
Okay, thank you so very much, Builder Adeoye Thomas. It's so good to have you, and I'm sure you have had a wonderful time with us.